Hey everybody, I'm Tori.
I'm Courtney, and we're your bitch pack friends.
Today we are going to spill the tea on a remake of one of our favorite movies, Mean Girls. So Courtney and I, with a couple of our friends from high school, went last weekend and we saw the new Mean Girls movie. It's the 20th anniversary from the original, so big deal, well timed.
Crazy.
What were our thoughts and expectations going into the movie?
So my expectations were very low. I knew it was a different cast besides Tina Fey, Tim Meadows. So spoiler alert, Lindsay Lohan has like a little part in it. And so besides that, it's just totally new people. So my expectations were low because of that. And I wasn't expecting the music to be any good. I
Yeah.
was expecting a crappy like music, like something that nobody really put too much effort into.
Yeah. I felt self-conscious after we talked last week because I had mentioned that it was a musical, and then afterwards I thought, wait a second, is it a musical? And I watched the trailer, and I could you can't even tell from the trailer that it's a musical. They have an Olivia Rodrigo song playing in the background of the trailer, and there's no real indication that it's a musical. But I
Mhm.
read I read somewhere actually that or one theory for why the movie was promoted that way is because there are so many musical movie adaptations that have come out in the last few years that just completely tanked, that they didn't want anybody or they weren't really trying to like sell it as a musical. They were trying to sell it as a remake of the original Mean Girls because they thought that would do better. And
Yeah.
honestly, I feel like that was kind of the right move.
But yeah, you're probably right when you look at it that way, because not everybody likes musicals. I would say most people don't like musicals.
Yeah, one of our friends that we went with was like, "Is it too late for me to return my ticket?" Because she doesn't like musicals, but she ended up
Mm.
really liking it. So yeah, I was also apprehensive because it's like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But
Yeah.
I ended up being really pleasantly surprised, and I really enjoyed it. I would recommend it to, I think, anyone.
Anybody. I loved it. Especially like the music. I wasn't expecting to like the music at all. And
Hmm.
especially Regina's songs. Like I went home and I was singing them in my sleep. The next day, the second my eyes opened, I went to my Apple Music and turned on the soundtrack. Like I was into it.
Yeah, was Regina your favorite character?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, well, you had mentioned after we saw it that I think one of the biggest perspective shifts from the original movie from 20 years ago compared to this version is that in the original version, Katie is definitely the main character. It's all about her. She's narrating, she's doing the voiceover. And then in this one, it's not like that at all. If anything,
No.
like Regina's kind of the main character, and
Hmm.
then Janice and Damien are narrating, but they don't even have like the voiceover narration. They're just kind of they show up and keep the story going. But
Right.
so yeah, from the storytelling
It's,
perspective, it's very different.
yeah, it's the original. You feel very like connected to Katie. You really want her to win in the end. And this one, I just didn't. Katie wasn't, didn't really care what happened to her. As bad as
Yeah,
that sounds.
yeah, yeah. And I think there are a couple of reasons for that. Like the other thing that I noticed about Katie was that she wants to go to the US, and that was like a kind of a big change from the original movie, because she's in the first one she's kind of like reluctant. Her parents make her go. It's a job thing for them. She doesn't really want to go. She's kind of an innocent victim. And then in this one she's like, I want to go. Like let's go on a new like so she seems like more of a catalyst in it. And so
Hmm.
that almost like sets her up right from the beginning as being less sympathetic.
Yeah. And there was something about the 2004 version where Katie liking Regina's ex-boyfriend didn't seem like such a red flag like it does in this new one.
Yeah.
There's some shift there where she just seems like she's being the crappy friend by going for Regina's ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
Maybe that was just how I saw it. Maybe I just want Regina to be good so bad because I love her
Yeah.
that I'm like, no, Regina's not doing anything wrong.
Yeah, you are, I think, a little bit too in Regina's corner, but
Yeah, I just love her.
that was a big shift though, is that at the Halloween party when Regina goes and talks to Aaron, it's totally different in this movie because she's not as manipulative. She doesn't lie about Katie, and she
Mhm.
kind of just says that she wants him back, or implies that she wants him back, and then she literally walks away, and then he chases her. So it's not that she is lying and manipulating Aaron and like has him under her thumb. She just kind of puts it out there, and he picks it up. So
Yeah.
so it's not so again, Katie's not, she's not being victimized by Regina in that moment. Instead, she's just kind of like stuck in the, like, she has a crush on a guy that's getting back together with his ex-girlfriend. And it's
Right. And that wasn't really her breaking point where she was like, yes, we're taking Regina down. It was when they're in the school hallway and she does the tell Aaron his hair looks sexy pushed back, and then she kisses him. And that's when Katie's like, that's it. You're
yeah,
going down. And it's
yeah,
like I just don't like the motivation of hating a girl because of a boy. Like,
yeah,
stupid.
yeah. You're very, very evolved.
I'm so grown up.
But so Regina doesn't have that mean line about how Katie has a crush on him and like wears an I love Aaron shirt under her clothes all the time.
Hmm.
And but she also doesn't do the you know, that's the ugliest effing bracelet I've ever seen. She doesn't do
Yeah.
that line. And so there are a few lines that she has that are like so cutting in the first
Hmm.
movie
So
that
mean.
yeah. Yeah, so mean. And then she doesn't do them in this movie. So yeah, it's harder to, she's powerful, but she's
Yes.
not, I don't think they really sold her as being mean.
Yeah, she's not as mean. So they're like, well, she did that to Janice when they were younger, where like they kissed for spin the bottle, and then she caught her toy on fire. What happened? I don't know. But she was calling her a pyro les, and like that's not even bad compared to the original, where
Yeah.
she's just picking on everybody so bad.
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like some of they kind of took for granted. I feel like they kind of took advantage of the fact that we know the story. We know Regina's mean, so they don't need to prove that she's mean. And yeah, so I feel like I wonder what it would be like for someone who had never seen the original to watch this one. They'd probably be like, "Why
Hmm.
why is everyone picking on Regina?"
Right. Well, I feel like the big thing in this new one was that she has all this power and nobody should have this power. But like, who gave her the power? Like, is
Hmm.
it even her fault, or is she just popular? Like, it's not her fault. Everybody's so obsessed with her.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, so there were some major plot holes. Overall, would definitely recommend. One of the iconic things, which might be a technology update, but the three-way calling attacks, remember from the
Hmm.
first movie? That was
Like, yeah.
like that was such a pivotal thing, I think, for establishing the relational dynamics between all of the plastics and then also showcasing like how mean they could be.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think there is definitely something lost there.
Yeah. It was more like they were focused on social media because that's what's
Hmm.
relevant today. And it was just kind of like, well, everybody's mean. Everybody's
Yeah.
spreading these rumors. It's not just the mean girls, it's
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah. And then we lost the boo you whore line, which
I know.
was it's a meme,
That's one of
yeah.
my favorites.
Boo you whore, and then I would love to get a word count on how many times they say slut in the
Hmm.
original movie, because they do say it a couple times in this one.
Was it in a mean way? Like, I don't even remember it being used.
I remember there was the line where Regina says that no one's going to vote for Karen for spring fling because she's such a slut.
Oh, yeah, because the
That
thing was that she's like been with 11 guys or whatever.
yeah. Yeah. But I thought that was an interesting kind of update because that's a mean thing to say. Like that's a mean thing to say.
Yeah.
Like
And
like
so,
bringing up that someone slept with 11 guys all the time.
yeah, that's so that was a way she was mean because like people don't really do that anymore. Like,
Yeah.
um,
Sleep with
What's
11 guys or talk about it?
talk about it in a bad way. You know, it's like the opposite now. It's like girls are supposed to go do their thing and good for them when they do.
Yeah. Um, but I wonder, so I wonder like if it's supposed to be maybe more reflective of modern times where you're not allowed to like use name call people. So you're not allowed to call somebody a slut. I wonder if that's how kids are now, where they're like they don't call each other names, but they might say like, so and
They just
so.
say,
Yeah.
they just give you the definition
Yeah.
of slut.
Yeah. I don't know. We need a teenager on here to ask them what it's
I
like.
know, like how do teenagers pick on each other now?
I'm sure they still do. Like that's
Right. What are the like topics though? Because like when we were in school, if somebody's saying, "Oh, this person's a lesbian," and like spreading rumors, it would be mean. Now, if somebody were to do that, it's like, who cares? Everybody's gay.
Yeah. One other thing that I did want to bring up that I felt like was different in the new
Oh, cool.
movie is Mrs. George, played by Busy Phillips.
Hmm.
I feel like she was the most like her character was maybe one of the most new things that or new characters that they implemented compared to the original, or most different than the kind of the inspiration. And
Hmm.
um and I think it worked really well. Like she
Yeah,
has had kind of the overbearingness, but in her own way.
yeah. She was less dumb, more love, I think.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did miss Amy Poehler, but I think it was a good move.
Yeah. Yeah, I was hoping I if I was gonna bet on there being any cameo from the original, I thought it was gonna be Amy Poehler. Um,
Did you know Lindsay Lohan was going to be in it?
no, I didn't.
Okay.
But that was a really pleasant. I was very surprised and I was very happy. But
I was too. Well, I know I told you after we saw it, it made me kind of sad, like a little emotional watching it because it's like the whole movie you're reminiscing and it's like just the nostalgia of when the original came out. And then Lindsay Lohan pops up and it's like, there's my Katie Heron. It's like coming home. It was like, that's our girl.
that's our girl.
Can we talk about this scene where she finds out about the Caltine virus
Oh yeah,
and how like different it was?
yes,
So the original, it's her new boyfriend. What's his name?
Shane Omen.
Shane Omen is the one who tells her about the Caltine virus and how they make you gain weight when
Hmm.
she's trying to lose weight. And you just don't feel bad for her at all. It's like, well, you got what you had coming to you. And in this new one, everybody's at this party.
Yeah,
It looks like the whole school is at this party. And then it shows Regina at home running on the treadmill.
yeah,
So she's like by herself while everybody's at this party. So you feel bad already. And then her mom tells her about the Caltine bars.
hmm,
And, she just loses her shit. But I felt bad for her.
yeah. That is a really good point. I think that's that's probably like the crux of what is different about Regina in this movie versus the old one. Because in the old one, when bad things happen to her, you're like, Regina, you had it coming. Like
Hmm.
you created this system and now like you're paying the price. Now you're at the bottom, but like you've been being this mean to everyone else the whole time. And then
Right.
in this new movie, when something bad happens to her, you're like, well, that was kind of me.
No, so mean.
Why did Katie just come out of nowhere and start acting like a jerk?
Right.
um yeah, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. And then Janice too. Like I feel like the thing with Janice in this one is that she never in the old one you could see that she was operating out of pain like the whole time. Like she was
Yeah.
her feelings were really hurt and she felt really rejected. And in this one it just wasn't as obvious to me that she was feeling those things.
Yeah. And you see more of just how bad she's manipulating Katie in this
Hmm.
one, because multiple times in this new one, Katie says, "I'm not doing that," and Janice is kind of
Yeah.
like, "Yes, we're doing this."
Yeah. Yeah. And in the
So
old one,
she's,
I felt like they had established Katie and Janice's and Damien's relationship a lot better. Like they hang out after
Mhm.
school, they hang out like in the schoolyard. Katie visits with Janice while she's working, and Janice wants to talk about other things besides Regina. And in this one, you don't get any of that.
right. Yeah. It almost looks like Katie is actually better friends with the plastics.
Yeah, totally.
Hmm.
Oh, I also, you know what else I miss about the old one is
When
Gretchen was like my favorite in the old one.
you love Gretchen.
I loved her because I just love how she's like so full of anxiety and about to explode at any moment. And
Yes.
in this one I just didn't feel that as much. She didn't have as
Well,
much like power pent up like
yes. Well, no, we lost a lot of her like good quotes. We lost her Caesar freak out.
oh yeah.
We lost where she talks about her dad, the inventor of toaster strudel.
Oh my gosh, I forgot.
So we lost like the best parts of Gretchen.
Mm, yeah. Um yeah, RIP.
Yeah.
This take on Karen. I mean, obviously Amanda Seyfried's Karen is iconic and amazing, but
Hmm.
I did
Hmm.
enjoy this iteration of Karen. She's funny and nice,
Yes.
and she's just her. The worst thing she is dumb, and she can't help it.
I know. I know. She's the nicest one though, but it's because she's so dumb.
Yeah, she can't keep track of any.
But yeah, I think Karen is my favorite mean girl, obviously besides Regina.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
I'm like, I like all the mean girls besides
Yeah.
Gretchen.
Yeah. It doesn't really. It just doesn't really like resolve as cleanly as the first one because on in the first one they all they all do so many terrible things. They all have to apologize and then they all get better at the end. And
Hmm.
so and then like Regina starts playing sports and Katie
Yeah.
has to do her mathletes thing and then in this newer one it's just not like Katie repenting is not as deep. Like you don't see her feeling as sorry as she does in the first one. And then even
Hmm.
Regina, like she basically is like I'm only being nice or I'm being nice because I'm taking medication, so you don't know how
Yeah.
how lasting it is.
Yeah.
So
So I thought with the medication. So again, I want Regina to be good so bad that I'm like, well, she's just saying she's high on drugs, even if she is, as like a defense for being like sensitive and like having
yeah,
feelings. Like she's not comfortable showing that. Or is she actually just high
yeah.
and doesn't like this person? So it's like you don't really know.
Okay. You want to give her the benefit of the doubt.
I do. I can't help
I Hey, maybe you're
it.
right. It's tough out there.
I
So 2004. For context, a lot changed. So, for instance, the burn book, well, not the burn book, but the burn book was shared instead of on a copy machine over social media. There's a lot of TikTok in this movie.
hmm.
Basically, a lot has changed in the last 20 years. I'm glad I went to high school 20 years ago and not today, personally. Uh,
Yes.
but let's do for old time's sake. Let's take a look back to 2004, which was our freshman year of high school.
Dang, forever ago. So my biggest surprise is when I was like looking up stuff to like reminisce what was going on. We didn't even have Paramore yet. That didn't happen until 2005. So this is pre-Paramore. So I was like, we were babies.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I can't believe that.
Yeah.
Um, Also, it was, well, I was just reading that Facebook didn't launch until 2007. So this is like several years before Facebook. And um, also, MySpace was like, we were using MySpace freshman year, right?
I was using MySpace heavily and AOL
Heavily.
Instant Messenger. I was I was into it.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
Did you find Paramore on MySpace?
My brother showed me Paramore. Like he played it in the car, and I was like, "Is this a girl or boy?" He was like, "It's a girl." I was like, "Let's do this."
How was the quality of your family computer with all that LimeWire?
It was fine. We never had any like breakdowns.
Yeah.
Yep.
Uh, did
Did you
you?
did you break any computers?
I think I did. Yes, but then I mean, when once it came time to like burn CDs, you couldn't. I mean, I wasn't gonna be at the mercy of what what was printed on CD. I was gonna make my own.
Exactly. And why buy the entire album when you only want the remix to Ignition anyways?
That's right. That's right. I. But how? I mean, how many hours do you think it took to make one good CD?
Oh my gosh, I can't even remember how long it would take just to download one song. I remember just like up and leaving the computer because it wasn't going to be done while you were sitting there, right?
Yeah.
It would take like an entire day to download the music and then put it on a CD.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a hard time. That was like our pioneer days.
Yes, that's our Oregon Trail.
Yeah. We're gonna tell the kids someday. I used to wait all night for a song to download because we sure did.
Yes, like our parents telling us how they walked to school in the snow. We used to wait all night for music to download.
Yeah. But it was really special if someone made you a CD. And
It was like your own personal mixtape.
mhm. Yeah, and they wrote all the song titles on it for you and it was
Hmm.
great.
Yep. The jeweled CD cases. Do you remember those? They were like
Yeah.
colors. Yeah.
Yeah.
Personalize it.
That was a good time.
It was fun.
Um okay, I've got something else that happened in 2004.
Wait, what is it?
Janet Jackson wardrobe malfunction with Justin Timberlake, where Justin
Yes.
Timberlake threw her under the bus.
Hmm.
Said it was not his
Super
fault,
Bowl.
which now I remember just makes me think what a dipshit Justin Timberlake is.
He did look surprised, to be
He did.
fair. Do you remember his face?
Yes. He did look surprised. And I'm sure he had no idea what was going on under there. And then
Um,
related to that, that's also the year that Britney married K-Fed.
yes. Yep.
What?
So yeah, Kevin Federline. It's the year she also had her perfume Curious. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I
It was
do.
in like and you like squeezed it to, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I wore that every single day.
Hmm.
Um,
I never wore it.
so
But I remember the commercials.
yes, yep, hot.
Yeah.
Um, also, who was dating Lindsay Lohan at the time? Do you remember?
No, I don't.
Wilmer,
Ugh,
Wilmer Valderrama. Is that how you say his last name?
that freaking guy.
He liked him young. He
He
liked him
likes
young.
he likes his just turned 18-year-olds.
Yes, but what is it? Wasn't Demi Lovato like not 18 when they first started chit-chatting? And then it was like the second she turned 18, he was like, "Okay, now it's fine."
Yeah. Yeah. I I don't like him.
I think he's slimy.
He's yeah. Yeah, Lindsay dated him for a while and then she must have got too
Hmm.
old. And
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
yeah,
forgot they were even a couple.
yeah. I forgot about that. I love I was so
Yeah.
happy when Lindsay got married and had a baby. I was like, hope you're
So
happy.
I just looked her up on Instagram. I didn't know she had a baby. I just figured that out like yesterday.
Yeah. She's also been living in like the UAE for like 10 years or something. Like
Hmm.
she's like I'm over living in America. Bye. And
Yeah.
and now she only comes back like to work or do interviews or whatever, but
Well,
um
they probably leave her alone there. She probably gets to live a somewhat normal life,
yeah.
hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah. She's I mean, I could rant for 20 minutes about Disney kids and their terrible parents, but like
Yeah.
it's amazing that it's not surprising that Lindsay went through a rough patch, or Demi, and it's amazing
Hmm.
that they're doing better now. And I'm very happy
Yeah.
that Lindsay seems like she's figured stuff out and she's having a good life and
Hmm.
gets to do cool stuff like have cameos in Mean Girls.
Yeah. I think she really went through it, but it seems like she made it out on the right side.
Okay, I've got another pop culture thing that happened. Do you remember when
Okay, what?
Ashley Simpson got canceled for lip syncing on SNL?
Yes. So I remember watching it while it happened, and
Really?
she had already performed this song, and then it was like time for her to do the second song, and they started playing the first song again. I'm like, why didn't she just lip sync along to it? It was like she freaked out because it was the wrong song playing.
Yeah.
But if she would have just sang along to that track again, nobody would have ever noticed. They would have just thought, stupid, she did the same song twice.
Yeah. I felt bad for her, but also it's like,
She was like, I was sick.
yeah. She, and then she kind of like retired after that, right? She was like, I'm done with this.
Hmm. Yeah.
I don't blame
Taylor
her.
was sick June 10th in Detroit, and she put on a 3-hour show.
Didn't stop her. She just had somebody bring her a tissue.
Yeah. And do you remember she coughed into the mic one time?
Yeah.
So, did you look up any other movies that came out in 2004?
I did.
Okay, so movies that I was actually into 13 Going on 30.
Oh,
Do you remember my obsession with Ladder 49 and Joaquin Phoenix?
yes.
I all of a sudden had a thing for firemen because of Ladder 49.
Are you still into Joaquin Phoenix?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I think he's great, but
Oh,
I don't have pictures of him on my walls or anything.
okay. Anymore.
Other movies I loved from 2004, Anchorman,
Wow. I did
Shrek
not
2.
know. Yeah,
So we were
solid.
kids, Shrek 2.
Solid.
And then Napoleon Dynamite and Obvious and The Notebook. So I guess I never realized Rachel McAdams did Mean Girls and The Notebook in the same year.
Wow, what a year for her.
Yeah,
Those are two iconic movies. I mean, Mean Girls is going to last longer, but Notebook is pretty
obviously.
Notebook is pretty solid to have in the same year.
Well, and like such opposite like stories
The
and
range,
characters.
the range on her.
Yeah. She's such a professional.
Yeah. And I think she hadn't been super famous before that. I think she had done a couple movies, like she was in White Chicks, I think, but and then just
Hmm.
it's just like boom, Mean Girls, The Notebook.
Yeah.
Now
And
she's a
and
freaking Avenger.
yeah, she's really living her life. But when you think about Mean Girls and The Notebook, she got different like age ranges with that too. So like
Hmm.
she had high schoolers loving her for Mean Girls, and then the older 20s and up liking her
Yeah.
for The Notebook.
Yeah, she got all of us.
Good.
I don't I wonder how old she was when she did that. I think she was probably in her late 20s.
I do remember her being 20 something, which, obviously, she wasn't
Yeah.
a teenager, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, she pulled it off.
She did. It's actually crazy she wasn't more famous than she was when you think of how iconic both movies were.
Yeah. I wonder if that was no, probably not intentional.
I doubt it.
Some people don't want to be super famous, but most people do.
It-
Oh, the other thing I wanted to point out was that the Mean Girls in this one, they're all like 22, 23, 24. So they were like toddlers when the first one came out. And
Mhm.
I can't decide if I love that or if it's infuriating to me. But
I know. Um, I I don't think they can appreciate it like we can,
yeah,
but they can't have 30 somethings playing teenagers either.
it's true. Yeah. We
I
were
don't know. I
born
feel like I feel like we could have done
we could have done
it.
I think that's a good point. We were born in the sweet spot though. Like freshman year of high school and having Mean Girls
Yeah.
come out is like such a gift.
Yeah, we were spoiled.
Yeah. Napoleon Dynamite too.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple notable breakups happened in 2004.
All right, hit me.
Bennifer, the original Bennifer.
Yep.
Ben Affleck and J-Lo broke up in 2004, broke off their engagement. It's nice to know now that they're back together, so that's kind of cool. 20 years later.
J-Lo and Ben Affleck, right?
Yeah.
Yep. I think they make a lovely couple.
I think they're good for
I
each
don't like
other.
them.
I don't like either.
They're I didn't know if we were gonna go there.
I don't like them.
I don't either.
We're trying to be nice on the podcast, but I think it's okay if we don't like somebody.
It's fine.
They both seem like terrible, awful people that love themselves a lot.
They seem so slimy.
That's the truth. No holding back. Also,
may they live happily ever after.
Yeah, wish them the best. Away from me.
Yeah.
Also, Barbie and Ken broke up that year after 43 years together.
I saw that too. She found an Australian surfer named Blaine.
Love that for her.
I know. She had her fun.
Do you know the status on that? Is she still with Blaine? Did she get back with Ken?
I don't know.
Is she doing the single thing for a couple decades?
Is she even straight anymore? Does Barbie have a thing for Courtney now?
Good question. I don't know.
We'll have to research that. Beyonce won 5 Grammys that year was that her first album on her own? Crazy in Love, is that what it was called?
I think so.
Yeah. Well, she won 5 Grammys, as she should.
Good job. I appreciate you keeping Beyonce on the podcast.
We love
giving her some airtime. I forgot about that. That was a good album. Breaking off from Destiny's Child. That must be really hard to be in a group and then have one of you go be super famous.
Yeah, that would kind of suck if it wasn't you.
Yeah. Yeah, like I was listening to an interview with one of the Spice Girls. I think it was Mel B recently, and she said that she's like, we all knew Victoria was famous, more famous than us, and we just had to accept it. And it's like, how do you all just like go out to lunch and just pretend like everything is fine or whatever?
Yeah, not everybody can be a main character.
Yeah. Oh, I did have one more thing that happened in 2004. Friends ended in 2004.
You're right.
Did you like that show?
Aired their last episode. So I have never watched Friends. I want to, but I want to be able to like actually sit and pay attention to it. And I feel like I can't, being a stay-at-home mom. Not at the moment.
Yeah. Maybe someday. Maybe in 20 years.
Yeah. When everybody moves out.
Also, Sex and the City ended in 2004, which it wasn't as much of a cultural moment as Friends, but still seems like a big deal.
Yeah, that was a good show.
Yeah.
I did watch that, and they made a couple movies. I always liked it.
Yeah.
Did you look up any music that we got in 2004?
No.
Like, what were our hit songs?
Mm-mm.
So we got My Happy Ending by Avril.
Oh, love that.
We also got Freak a Leak by Petey Pablo.
That was actually on the radio this morning when I was driving, and I was like, I cannot believe I listened to this as a child. This is
it's
so
crazy.
bad.
I remember knowing all the words to Ludacris's song Fantasy.
Yeah.
And I would have been in like 5th grade, maybe.
I think when you're a kid, though, it just like, you don't know. It just goes, they're just words. They have no meaning.
Yeah. Well, and some of it, is naughty, but it's like, who cares? You like the song.
Yeah. Freak a Leak, taking me back. My Happy Ending, though, that was cool because that's when Avril got to really be like, this is the dark side of me. This is who I am.
She came out as emo.
Yeah. Complicated was like the watered down pop version of her.
It was.
Yeah. And we didn't even know. Everybody thought she was so weird for her ties and her big baggy pants. And then she's like, you guys don't even know.
Remember how people thought it wasn't her?
Yeah.
Because she started dressing different.
Yeah, I love that.
They're like, Avril's dead.
It's the only logical explanation.
Avril's gone and we have this clone replacement.
I will say I did get a little bit of whiplash when she came out for her third album, like wearing the tutu and she dyed her hair blonde, and I was like, maybe she is dead. I don't know. Like,
Right. This is starting
yeah.
to look more real.
But I
It'd
also
be nice.
once I got over that, I really appreciated how she was like, I can be emo skater girl, tomboy wearing ties, or I can put on a tutu if I feel like it. So screw you
Right.
guys.
I
And
can be pretty too.
yeah, I really like that about her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she really didn't care what people were saying about her or
Mm-hmm.
thinking. She was just gonna do what she wanted.
Yeah. And 20 years later, she still puts on a great show.
She sure does.
So do you think Tina Fey will make another iteration of Mean Girls in 20 years?
I doubt it.
All right. Fair enough.
Mm. It'd be nice to get like our original group of Mean Girls if they did something. They did that commercial. Was it a Walmart commercial?
They did the Walmart
And
commercial.
yeah, we really had our hopes up. And then they were crushed when we realized it was just a Walmart commercial.
Yeah, and Rachel McAdams was like, I'm too good for it anyway. I'm not even going to be there.
Yeah. It was like, do not waste my time.
Fair enough. I thought they were going to do a Christmas special or something. That's what I was hoping for.
Yeah, give us something.
Maybe I wouldn't be surprised if they do something eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe when they're old.
Especially after this like musical
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
It's like it's bringing them back at the same time.
Yeah. I wonder how many residual checks they're all getting for this movie.
They're eating well.
Yeah, they're eating well. They're doing well. 2004 was a good year, and so will 2024 be.
Yes, you're right.
All right. Well, we're your bitch pack friends. Thanks for chatting with us. We'll be back next week.